How are you doing today? Oh my gosh, feels like forever. My mother and her husband go to a church. My brother and I have only been, a few times. There's just these situations that we tend to get put into that just seem a little, awkward. So, it's always awkward when you're meeting new people, but it's always super awkward when you're meeting new people at church. Well, for me it is, because these are not typically the crowd that I would hang out with. They're more older than I am, and it's just not my group of people. So it's always kind of awkward when we go to church and we meet my mom's friends. One thing that makes it really awkward is you don't know whether you should shake hands with a person or, give them the kiss on the cheek, because you're just meeting them. You don't know how far, how comfortable they are with the kiss on the cheek, or if you just do a handshake, so you're kind of in this awkward little inching thing, and it's horrible.
Nice to meet you.
This isn't really awkward, but this is something that happens often whenever my mother introduces me or my brother to her friends. She always uses this little joke, and maybe at first it was funny to us, but now it's just like we kind of laugh just because we don't want to embarrass my mom, because she just said a joke in front of these people, and of course they think it's funny because they never heard it before, but we've heard it a million times and it's getting pretty old.
Oh my God, she's so beautiful. Who's this? This is my daughter. Doesn't she look just like me? No, she doesn't.
The reason why she says this joke is because there's 5 of us. She has 5 kids, and none of us look like her. We all look like my father. So she says this joke, and everyone's like, ah, we look nothing like her. Another awkward situation at church is, why is it that everyone is always trying to hook you up with their son or their grandson or their nephew? Like, suddenly every 18-year-old they know is my type, which not how I want to do things. It's not really cool. Like, oh, let me set you up with my nephew. He's 18 years old and you guys have a lot in common. Well, how do you know? You just met me.
Look, there's Sister Alicia and her daughter. I have an 18-year-old son. His name's Josue. You're gonna love him. He's bien guapo. I love him.
Awkward. So another awkward situation at church is the language. We go to a mainly Latino church, so there's a lot of Spanish-speaking people there. I don't really speak Spanish, so it's always really awkward because they come up to you expecting you to speak Spanish, because I'm Puerto Rican and I don't really speak it very well. They start talking to me in Spanish and I don't really understand what they're saying, so you're just kind of awkwardly smiling and nodding, hoping that whatever they say is funny, because you're just standing there laughing, and it's just really awkward. And then if they ask you a question, it's a whole other story, because you're still standing there smiling and they ask you a question and I'm just like, yeah. My mom then has to translate, or she'll answer the question for me in Spanish and make some kind of joke about how I don't speak Spanish, and it's just a whole awkward situation that I just rather not deal with. So the church that my mom goes to, it's a really small church. Everyone knows each other, so if you're a new person, you kind of just stand out. Since it's such a small church, the pastor kind of calls you out, like, hey, you're new here, what's your name? And I remember the first time that my brother and I went to that church with my mom. They, of course, knew my mom, and they came up to us and were like, oh, here's Sister Alicia with her kids, and they somehow knew our names already. Like, awkward. Another awkward situation that happens every single time we go to church with my mom is finding seats. I always tell her we don't want to sit too close to the front because we don't want to, it's just too close for comfort. So then she's standing in the aisle while worship or something is going on, like, how about over there? Hey guys, does that seat look good over there? We're just like, yes mom, go, just go. She's like, no, not over there. And we're just standing there in the aisle looking like dummies because my mother can't decide where she wants to sit, and then she ends up sitting like 4 rows in the front. I told you we didn't want to sit in the front. It drives me crazy. Ooh.
hate that.
Who's that creeping?
You didn't answer my question.
What's your question?
Your
Do my
Bazoombas
boobs
look
look okay?
fine.
Zumbas do look fine. Okay, ready?
Oh my goodness, Nikki!
Mom,
That's you.
I'm gonna edit my voice.
Oh Lord.
We go to a Hispanic church. May I help you?